It's no secret that I'm a pretty big fan of the roguelike deck building genre. I've been tempted to make a whole series dedicated to ranking every game made in order to cut through all the hundreds of games out there that try to replicate the success of games like Slay the Spire, Monster Train, and Balatro. Many of these games look to use similar systems to the aforementioned games, and there tends to be very little in the ways of unique gameplay. However, an upcoming roguelike deck builder is looking to use a puzzle mechanic in order to make the player really think out each turn. But what is this game? And should you be checking it out when it releases? Stay tuned to find out. Developed and published by the two-man team at Snake Tower Games, Moon Sigil Atlas is a roguelike deck-building puzzle game based around a constellation-like aesthetic. You play as one of several characters as you attempt to take down the three titans for an ominous figure. Instead of having a mana resource to play cards, each of your cards takes the form of a sigil or a shape that must be played into the grid for it to be activated. This creates a puzzle for you to solve each turn so that you can play as many cards as possible, as your ingenuity in maneuvering these shapes is what ultimately determines how many cards will get played in a turn. Some of these sigils have spaces that have an icon in them. In order for these icons to be activated, the shape must align in a way where the icon is within a given boundary, making the puzzle have even more depth to it. Enemies you come across will likely do one of three things, which is attack, buff themselves to hit harder, or one other ability we're going to get to later. These attacks they do can come in a variety of formats, but what is worth noting is the fact that in order to block the attack, you need to have either equal or more defense. This sounds pretty standard, but what isn't standard is the fact that each attack will be compared to your block value individually. So even though an enemy may attack for 12 total damage, because each attack is worth 6 damage, if you have at least 6 block, then you take no damage at all. This makes up for the fact that many enemies will attack you with multiple attacks and still keeps things fair, but one aspect that's worth noting is that the blocking amount will only apply to the area where the icon is located, meaning if you wanted to block an attack from this enemy, then you must play in a way that puts the icon in the respective zone. The other ability an enemy will utilize is playing hostile sigils onto your board. These come in a variety of forms, like the small ones that just take up space and block you from playing there, ones that take up larger spaces and can either lower the damage that sigils do in that area or buff an enemy for each sigil played in that area, or they can populate the board with several small zones that all must be played on top of, otherwise the enemy will unleash a devastating attack or ability. Now, with all of that out of the way, that pretty much wraps up how a large portion of the game itself is going to play, but as you progress through your atlas, you can encounter events that allow you to add icons to your sigils to give them new abilities, you can remove cards from your deck to optimize draws, and you can even upgrade your sigils themselves by removing one of the tiles required in order to play them. So it's up to you to decide if you're going to spread out these upgrades or place them all on a few that will be unleashed on your foes. It's really difficult to make a long video for Moon Sigil Atlas, but not because it doesn't have a lot to offer. The demo is relatively short, however it does a fantastic job at displaying what makes it a unique and engaging experience in a sea of clones. By the time I finished, I was able to defeat the first Titan thanks to a fun deck revolving around drawing a lot of cards and being able to remove sigils that I already played that turn. I do hope that each Atlas world you inhabit will become a little bit longer, as I was always looking for more opportunities to modify my cards, sigils, and overall deck as I progressed. But in the end, I was really impressed with my time playing this, and it will definitely be a game that I'm going to keep on my radar. Although with no official release date, it may be a while before we get our hands on the full game. But with that, that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another. Shoutouts go to Relativity, Naughty Dog is King, Chaos, and Kamikolo alongside all those subbed to the channel. Let me know what you think about this game in the comments below, and make sure to leave a like, or even sub if you're not, but either way, I will see you soon.